don't see it recording. Hello and welcome. Hello and welcome tonight. We got a very special episode for you. This is the very first ever Counters Corner, coming into the seedy side alley. Get the underground details. We got our big daddy-o Vexmor from the Thrice Full Discord in the booth with us today. Looking a little swollen and purple down there, my friend. Hope that's not a sign of things to come, but it might be. So we hear there's a lot of clatter on the streets about Vexmor, and I'm not here to talk about its points. I'm not here to talk about is it swingy or not. We know it is. It's 2 dice. What I'm here to talk about is how do we fight this? How do we fight this, and how do we fight any other big, swole gentleman that comes gallivanting our way with a couple dice, coming long ways down that road, ready to poke us down? So we're here with Kyle. We're here with Mike. And we're here with our buddy Vexmor to discuss how do we deal with this? Because guess what? There's a lot of options. And I think you and everybody else should know. But before we continue, please hit that like, subscribe, tell your grandma, tell your friends, tell your old best friend you used to talk to in the 6th grade, but he doesn't talk to you anymore because you thought it'd be a fun prank to put gum in his hair. Sorry, Rich. And listen, it's time to move on. It's been 20 years. Let's be friends again. All right? Let's start it up. Let's get on with it. Counters Corner, very seductive. Neon marquee for all of you.
Perfect for talk about, Slaanesh and the Silverites.
So fits like a glove, right?
Feels sticky from here.
So who is? Hand. Yeah, there's a strong hand for mixing mashed potatoes with. Listen, who is Vexmor and why is he taking my lunch money? Probably one of the strongest titles I've ever made, right? Listen, everybody saw this and everybody said this the same thing. Holy F, it's 10 strength, 5/10 damage profile. This is a Peter McCabbage special if I've ever seen it. We got 3 movement. He's got 6 toughness. He's forgivable if you just put him in the wrong spot. 25 wounds, 150 points. It's going to read 180. You're blessing him up for 2. That 2-inch poker on there. He's coming in with that belly and slapping down, right? Guess what? On a double, my man's going to move an extra 3. Kind of like on the Maw Path for anybody who plays ogres. He's coming. But he cannot onslaught if he does that. So knowing your distance is very important with him. It's called a threat range for my new friends listening. What he does is he commands zonal respect. 2 dice are swingy, but 20 damage, you're scared of those 2 6s because it's blowing up a lot, right? That sick 1 box, it's getting dumpstered from a double 6, right? Are you willing to chance it? But guess what? You should be, because we're going to tell you how to do it. I will tell you what he cannot do. He cannot no blood for the blood god. Might makes right. Shock and awe. He can't do any of that. He can't kill and go again. So if you can stymie him, stop him, slow him down, or ignore him, or maybe you're a man like myself who likes to commit when you don't have to.
Yeah, get him.
You commit.
Get him.
Right? He's stuck on 1 target unless he rampages, and he requires dice every turn. This is all to your advantage. So he requires dice to move anywhere effectively. We need to think about this right off the bat. 3 + 3 is 6. Am I right? Am I a mathematician?
Again, I gotta count my extra toe
I thought that was 33, but that would be larger than the bullet. So I guess you're right.
Ooh, baby. Big Daddy Vex in the bottom. He can't really speak to us. He's got the old Peter syndrome right now where he's not really piping up.
He's still trying to run into position because they didn't
right. He's still coming, right? He's still on his way. But guess what? We're going to be able to duck that. Yeah, he's got that corner deployment, right? He's not having a good time. So let's go. Kick it up. Let's go. We're here not to waste people's times. Now, we got the plans to make Zinch mad. When I thought about this, by the way, fun fact, I was thinking about Terry Crews in The Longest Yard. It was The Longest Yard, right? When he's like, I got the fries to make you cry. Yeah. And just shaking the whole time while saying this. That was the whole time I was thinking about this, by the way.
I can only think about Vexmor peck dancing all the time.
Just shaking and holding up McDonald's food in a jail cell, offering you some delicious eats. Kyle, why don't you take us off with this a little bit? Tell me about some methods that we can approach Vexmor with.
I mean, number one, it's pretty obvious, right? When you have someone that's this slow, move 3, like every other move 3 in the game, Stormcast or Vexmor, just stay away from it. Just don't go near it, right? If you have any high move abilities, you have any high move models, just stay outside of its range, right? We actually talk about one of our other episodes about kind of threat ranges, right? If he doesn't have any doubles, his threat range to move and attack is 5. If he does have a double, his move and attack range is 8, right? So think about he's got an 8-inch bubble. Yes, he's really strong. Yes, he's really tanky. But if you just think of him as kind of like a area of control piece rather than a killing piece, you can work around that and commit your play style around that. Essentially, your opponent's paying 180 points, nearly 1/5 of their list, just to say this is my 8-inch zone, right?
That's fair. And that's a fair ask. Yet again, just so we're going forward before the first person knee jerks and goes, but that's too cheap. It is. But that's not why we're here. So keep it in mind. 180 points is a steal. It's a bargain basement steal to say this is my area. So either you outmaneuver him and leave that guy alone, and then you go and do things on the rest of the board, or Michael, what's our other plan?
I mean, what I like to do personally is close my eyes and Leroy Jenkins it. Just head off. Yeah, it's just it's scary, right? You got this big nasty piece, and Kyle's a wait coward. He'll wait and just let and see what you do, right? So he's like,
shots fired.
But my preferred method of approach is to just charge right in there and see what we can do. It looks scary. Toughness 6 is most things that aren't named Vexmor are going to be hitting on 5, so that's not ideal. But you know what's great about this game? No, nothing matters when you roll a 6. Toughness is completely irrelevant, and there's only 25 wounds in there. So you can chuck dice at it. You chuck enough dice at it, you get lucky on a few of them. You can really start to mow through this big ugly beast. Sorry, Vex. But yeah, it's not unkillable. In the same way that like a tyrant is 42 wounds, that's a little harder hill to climb. 25 wounds is not that much. That's essentially a Stormcast Annihilator coming in defensively. I realized that's the analogy that always goes out there, but like defensively, that's what it is. 25 wounds, toughness 6. That's the Grand Hammer Annihilator that's popping out. That's the same stats. They're killable, right? You still don't want to go near those guys, but just whack them. Whack them off, whack them hard, and they'll be gone forever.
That's true. Ken confirmed on both of those things, and it was successful.
And one of the things, too, about like committing like that, talking about the clap back, right? If you have a guy that you clap back with, you run in there with, I don't know, a tyrant, something really big. For him to crit, right, it's one out of 6 for 1 dice, 16%. For someone to roll 2 crits, it's 1 out of 36, or a 3% chance he's going to double crit on the comeback, right? So it's not unrealistic to run in there with a 25 wound model. If he doesn't, rampage, go up 3 attacks there. I'm sorry, onslaught, go up to 3 attacks there. Odds are he's doing 20 damage, right? Yeah, otherwise he's going to have to attempt to roll a crit. Each attack section, and each attack section is, 1 out of 36 for 2 crits. So those chances aren't that bad. You're going to be taking a lot of damage, but you have a good chance of surviving if you're above 20 wounds.
I am not a math guy. I'm a vibes guy. And I'm going to say that in harnessing my best war games on toe suppression. I don't care about math because I don't. You throw more 6s, you win more games. But here's the thing on top of what Mike was saying. If you commit, you have to commit. Because if you fail to remove him, the game plan is going to get toppled. It's going to feel terrible.
Then you're just throwing good pieces away.
You're right. You need to commit. And you need to ensure if you do commit, you have a wild dice save to maybe you ensure your initiative or something. Don't put a piece out there blindly and say, but I committed. What did you commit? Did you really commit? Did you commit with a plan? Did you have a 5-year program to get where you need to get to? Because if you don't, you're not committing.
Did you send a 1-2 profile with 3 attacks in there and hope for the best? You're not committing.
That's a plan too, right? I could just send a ghoul.
That can be.
He wants to kill 1 ghoul a turn. I really don't.
That's
care.
A different kind of plan.
That's not a committing plan. That's a blender plan, but that's still a plan. Still a plan. Still
that's the children are driving too fast through my neighborhood.
It's a 55 point net if you're running real beast players,
Yeah,
we'll get there. We'll get there. That's part of the plans.
Should we talk about some of those other strats? Either run away or kill
Let's
it.
go. Let's go.
Whoa.
Ooh, you reduce the dice pool. What does that mean? What can we do to reduce dice? Because that's not really this out of a lot of the options we have here tonight. It's not the most common because these are silver bullet tech pieces. So when I say it's a silver bullet tech piece, I mean we're just trying to. It's not going to be a commonly. I'm throwing in a casual shroomancer as an ally, right? I'm not going to say, hey, Swamp Color Shaman's my go-to buddy for Cruel Boys or Destruction. However, having attack reduction auras or the ability to target something with a single target attack reduction is pretty excellent. Mike, I think you've played Vashtis, right? Which is another Thricefull Discord. Sorry, Vexmor on the bottom there, big boy. I'm sorry, the Vashtis is right. Vashtis in your own Underworld's Warband is naturally one of the better counters for you because on a double, as it's minus a dice, right?
Oh, and that's why we hate them. That's why we hate Vashtis around here. Sorry, Vex, but yeah, no, it's you get that 6-inch -1 attack. Vexmor, if Vexmor is blessed, then that blessing doesn't matter anymore. You're only chucking 1 dice, and that's not going to go well. You onslaught, okay, now you're up to 2, which is now you're dumping dice and the points in there. So
for sure.
What I learned from that means I should just be running Canine Shadow Stalkers, right? -1 to hit. There we go. No problem.
Oh,
Perfect counter to Vexmor right there.
Popping the darkness all over the place.
Before I let you guys go on a little bit more about these abilities, because I know you guys have played them a little bit more, I do want to say that this is not every single ability, but this is a good compilation or things for you to look at and generalize across your gameplay and plans. You play at a local game store where people are playing a lot of ogres, and you're not playing blessings. Reduce the dice. These are some things, and then you can kind of get and gather and looking around. The one thing that stands out to me here is something Kyle plays in Feck, Baffling Parlay, which is not a dice ability. It's just a flat reaction. Do you know how embarrassing it is for something to walk up, go down to 1 dice, and fail to kill 55 points? Because I do, because it happened to me the other night when I rolled like a million 1s and 2s. But go on, Kyle, Baffling Parlay, let's go. What is it?
I mean, you explained it, right? The Baffling Parlay is a reaction from the Flesh Eater Courts. When you attack them, they can use this as a reaction. Subtracts 1 from the dice coming in. So if you have 2 attacks, it goes down to 1. So that 8-wound ghoul, all right, Vex, you want to move and attack me once, you better crit, otherwise my ghoul's alive, right? So it's going to sit there and sit pretty. Or you just run in and tie them up too. I mean, that's not the only thing Flesh Eater Courts can do, right? Like they also have Offering the Bone ability, which could just straight up tell them that he can't use any abilities, then he's super slow. Just to kind of emphasize Rob's point here that reducing the dice is a huge game plan. And the one thing that reducing the dice, it doesn't mean that you just have to reduce the number of dice he's rolling. So if you look at Vulcan Flameseekers, or I believe Nave and her crew, you could change crits to hits. Well. And the Starborn is for Seraphon, and that will work the same way, right? If Vexmor wants to run up, wants to come after, my Scalebreaker and Vulcan Flameseeker, so say your 2 crits or hits, I'm guaranteeing he can't do more than 10 damage. Guess what? I have 12 life. You're not going to kill me. Works for Seraphon, works for anyone who could turn those crits into hits. So it's not just reduce the number of dice, but we're also reducing what those dice can do.
Right.
But Mike,
in a similar way too, like in a weird way, stuff like Hunters of Hawanchi and Wildercore, they got the disengage. So if Vexmor doesn't get a crit and a hit on that first 2 dice roll, okay, I just disengage. That's fine, and you cannot swing at me again, right? Very creative ways that are just preventing the dice being rolled at you is what we're trying to get at here. One note, I think we put the wrong one in there. It's the other. We put Vashtis's wrong ability. Apologies. It's what's it called? The instead of the coiled lash in the top right, it's Discordant.
Yeah, that's my apologies. It wouldn't be an episode if one of us didn't mess up on a
these
slide.
Are the rules. We didn't want Vex to have to see that on the screen. So we take our co-hosts into thoughts and feelings into consideration here. But like I was saying though, like that this oh my goodness, what's it called? Disengage. Whoa, brain stopped working. Yikes.
Core roll, Mike. Core roll. Got it.
But yeah, it just, you're finding different ways to use these abilities, these reactions and stuff like that to completely prevent any, terminal amount of damage coming through to kill your model.
Correct. That's all correct. Let's go. Let's go. Let the people know. Catfish him. Now, I know something about
Hit him with
this.
the Monte Teo.
Hit him with the Monte Teo. Listen.
This
Hook
means
him
if you're
in.
playing Deepkin, play the Catfish model, and you're gonna have a good time. That
Ooh,
makes
that's
sense.
the secret. That's the big secret one is the Catfish model.
Yeah.
Listen, pull him off a target and run away, forcing him to use more dice doubles to have to catch up. It's simple. Listen, Riptune Harpide.
I like it. I like that. Sounds better. It's cooler.
Ooh, English is my
Riptune
friend.
Harpide.
Riptune Harpide.
IDK getting some-
That's got to go in the lexicon when we're done here.
Riptune Harpide's in the Hall of Fame. I remember him. Yeah, he's had over
he was
300.
also a Yu-Gi-Oh card, if I was correct. Riptune Harpide. Riptide Harpoon, right? A triple. The fighter makes a bonus attack. It's a pull. Bloodbind on a double and Devolve on a double and Chaos are both great abilities to pull your friends off there. The Bloodbind's on the Slaughter Priest and the Devolves on the Greater Bray Shaman from BOC. Both are allies, and they're both really. Yep, BOC. I'm sorry, Beast of Chaos. Thank you for correcting me. Very naughty acronym people we are. There's so many things, right? We're just cutting down time trying to talk. So having these things and being able to ally any of those in and be like, listen, I could just pull you away from something if you fail to kill it. And then they just run away. So then not only did you spend 2 rounds and 2 sets of doubles trying to catch up and do it, if you just whiff, he's effectively like almost like, yeah, we could say it's scary, but it's largely useless at that point. I don't want to say useless, but it's not as useful. It's not hitting its peak maximum potential. Sorry, buddy. Sorry, Vexmor. I didn't mean to be rude like that. But listen, haul him in. New triple on the ogres, right? Just bring him in, haul him in, and then disengage and get out of there and watch him try to have to catch up. He's gonna have a hard time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's pretty simple.
The fun one I like here is you can catfish him with a literal fish. If you play Ephelim's Pandemonium, you bring Starefish in here who can also pull. Yeah, so you can literally catfish him.
Right.
I mean,
You don't even need to Riptune Harpide it.
I mean, to catfish too, though, right? We haven't included it, but to catfish anything, you need a net, right, to capture them. So that also works here, right? We're talking about pulling around the board of Bloodbind, the Starefish yanking people around. Mm-hmm. You could bring a True Blood in, just net him in place. That's a 3-inch net.
Very fair. That's an auto net too. It's an auto net. We'll get there. Hold your. I know you're raring. I know you're raring. Hold the reins, mister, because we have a very important one that's very near and dear to my heart, and it's be your own vein factory. When they ask you what you want to be when you grow up, you tell them you want to be a vein factory. You want to be. You want to be
teacher at school tomorrow.
Vein factory. You want to be 50 Shades of Gains. You want to be swole to the maximum here. All right, just be bigger than him. Commit.
Be beats of chaos, right?
Right. A blessed gut lord or blessed brute boss utilizing Duff Up, the big thing, right? And we see that's a double on that. Until the activation, add 1/2 attacks and strengths. So if we're blessing that brute boss to go to 230, he's going to be 4/6, 3/6. He's going to go to 5, 7, 3/6. You're hitting him on 3s. You're throwing 10 dice. You have a good chance to kind of just maul that boy down. And you have 30 life. He needs to do some work and get lucky in order to really bring that down. The Gut Lord, we got that casual, cool Peter Mercencavage 5'10" profile where it's casual and fun family friend play.
It's a teaching game piece. That's how we educate people how to play the
we
game.
Teach
this is what it's like to pick up your models.
Instead of the bone tithe, Peter collects your teeth. And then he gives him little necklaces for us for Christmas time. It's very sweet and thoughtful of him.
Also, shout out Pete, who's on a plane right now.
Yeah,
that's why he came with us tonight, and that's why we are taking all the shots we can.
Yeah, I mean, like, listen, we miss Peter. He's flying. He's living his best life with his beautiful family, and we wish him well. We'll see him back from time for Nova and the family cast. But until then, we got
about violence on the plane. He's thinking,
oh yeah. He's like, I wonder how this plane would feel about a gut lord right now on board. I'd be scared. 5'10".
TSA, tell you that much.
I mean, here at 5'10", he's like, the fires of Gondor have been lit. I must call.
They're calling, baby.
So the other thing too, being your own vein factory, you could also just bring your own Vexmor. You really just want to counter Vexmor, bring a Vexmor. You guys are gonna just play roulette and just throw dice if that's part of the gameplay and go for it, right?
You know how to fight one Vexmor? Second Vexmor.
Second Vexmors.
Go.
That's it. And the loser has to whip theirs against the wall. That's what I heard.
Yeah,
right.
Chardy McDennis, you get to stomp on it, whoever loses.
You have other cool abilities like Unleash Savagery, which is the once per game double from the Theridons, where they get to pump their strength and attack. It's a dice roll, it's a chance, but you have a chance to really put some big hurt on him. Potentially always hitting on threes, and then potentially being able to throw 7 dice for a shot once per game. But guess what? If you tie him up and you do that once per game, you wound him or finish him off by committing to him. Then they have effectively a large threat reduced out of the game, and they lose that zone control, and you're free to kind of develop the board as you see fit. Other shout outs are Slave to Darkness, pumping their own strength on a double, being able to guarantee that you're going to always crack on threes. Come on, guys, let's get a little smart. Let's get a little creative here, right?
I mean, honestly, I don't like building bigger. Do you know what I'd like to do? It's like a really small guy that get hit up. I think there's a term for that.
I can't say.
It's burning. The thought's burning in my mind. I don't know what it is.
Is it a net?
No, it's burn. You're gonna burn him.
Wait, no, hold on, don't do it. I got one more. I got a bonus one before we burn.
All right.
Critting on 5s. Any abilities let you crit on 5s. You kind of get some thickness.
Look at that.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of Bolt Boy Boss, a little BBB. Or what's the other one? Oh, Welder Core. Yeah, sorry, I put Welder Core on the brain. But yeah, they can crit on 5s.
I mean, critting on 5s is cute. Have you tried critting on 3s? Come on, Skinnerkin. That's all you play.
Yeah, that's another tasty one. Tasty morsel. Bring it back to the larder. Okay. Hey Kyle, what was that word you were talking about doing extra damage and stuff?
I don't know. I got ice. I think you gotta introduce it now.
Do it. Transition.
Do it.
Switch it.
We're gonna burn,
baby,
yeah.
burn.
Yeah, I mean, my choice of burning is when I play Royal Beast Flayers using pack tactics, burn them down, or Flame Seekers, like I mentioned before, right? They're quad.
I didn't even put pack tactics on there, and I'm really sorry about that. That was not intentional, but it is a great unintentional shot at you.
It's cool. It's cool.
Sorry. I don't think I've seen a single death thing.
Me and Vexmor are gonna cuddle later. I think it's fine. It's not a big deal.
Ugly.
Yeah.
Look at that tongue.
He's clapped me so many times. He deserves a little cuddle time after this. So
what them wings do.
But yeah, just burn them down, right? Any tough target, something that's T5 plus, burn always works, right? Just do something where your armor doesn't matter anymore. And there's plenty of teams that can do it, as you mentioned, the Vulcan Flame Seekers, the Royal Beast Flayers, the Horns that has shit. Cities of Sigmar, I think, actually have a burn now with some of their Bolt Boys. There's just so many ways in this game to ignore armor, whether it's through abilities, make it on your next attack, ignore armor, or just a straight up burn spell that goes through armor, and it's not even part of the action economy. Heck, there's even reactions that burn through the cool trap, right? So many different ways if you just want to get that damage in there to take him down. So you don't have to be bigger than him. You just have to play smarter in that case.
Again, this is to generalize your abilities too. This goes to anybody. You have a local area. People are playing a lot of Stormcast, a lot of T5, a lot of T6. Guess what says I don't care about toughness other than rolling 6s, right? Is just burning through it. Direct damage, pink fire, blue fire. Shout out to Kit for Dark Pact, because I'm pretty sure that was the first person to ever use that successfully. And just like,
and didn't
there's
stop. Just continued.
Right.
Spam the dark path button.
It started off as a meme and it ended up as a lifestyle, and you got to support. You got to support.
Now you got to. It's baby was brought into the world with Dark Pact. It's
right.
The way that it was meant to be.
That's a beautiful natural story.
A weird kind of burn that I just kind of thought of as we're talking about it here too is the funky miss abilities, since Vex is only chucking a couple of dice. If you've got stuff that's like I'm thinking of Daughters of Cain. If they don't roll any crits, they take a bunch of damage back. Oh, that's just free damage. There's a roll
OBR,
involved.
right?
Yeah, all this, right? Like all of these. I mean, Myrmidon, it's not usually a great use of a Myrmidon action, but no crits, and they are, what is it, 10 damage, I think, from a Myrmidon? Like, it might be worth considering. And if you can combo that off with, like, Vashtis and stuff like that, where they've only got 1 in 6 chance that they don't take 10 damage, yikes, because that's just so much damage coming back. And as we said, there's only 25 wounds. There's not that many there. Counter away,
Yeah, absolutely.
Any other burninating? Any other Trogdor moments?
Trogdor moments. Oh, shout out to Pete for fell water vomiting on things. I mean, that's just another one. And you can decide to spread that spray. The damage from cackling arcs.
Crackling arcs, because electricity. I know you don't like death, so it's
crackling arcs.
He doesn't know what it is.
It's on a 5+. I'm not.
What is it called? Trash garbage bead?
It's called smelly jerk face. And then you roll dice, and then your zombies do everything. No, I mean that's a perfect thing though, right? Is like being able to do that. It's awesome. Domitan's ult just AoE burns things. You have the Knight Arcanum, which is like 18 inches or something absurd. Rolls like 3 dice.
There's so many
There's so many ways.
Right? It's like, okay, if you roll a 4 or 5, they do 1, and then on a 6, it does the value of the dice. But like, this is the time when you start considering it, because you're not chucking
the
dice.
The big one for me is the Pyre tokens for Pyre Geists.
Oh, that's the overpowered. Might have to tune
get that damage in there.
Mm-hmm. If you do any damage to Vexmor with a Pyre token with Pyre Geist, we want to hear about it, because you're a legend. You deserve something. I don't know what it is yet, but we will applaud you. We'll stand up.
So listen, I don't want to hear about it, but some of these models aren't the best points efficient. Agreed. But sometimes you got to get creative to crack a few eggs that you need to crack. Mm-hmm. You need to make that omelet. And if you don't find a way to crack that egg, you ain't getting that omelet. Mm-hmm. So look, we just laid it out here. There's a whole bunch of stuff. Keep going. We got I think one more.
We're going to wrap it up.
Nice.
No.
Okay.
That's what my dad told me.
Is this when we do the rap that we all practice? You guys did your verses, right? Okay. Okay.
This was like the wedding.
Yeah, that's where you're freezing on there. Knees weak. No, okay.
He's getting nervous. Listen, nets. Right. Listen. There's nothing more infuriating than first starting to play this game and then someone nets you like twice in a game.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, shout out. Sorry, dude. I mean, like even to me, like Javi, back in the day, like Netman, he's like, yeah, it's part of the game. And I'm like, it's a stupid part of the game. Why don't I have a double to cleanse status effects? Why isn't this in the game yet? I was like, I'll spend a triple to say you can't do that. No, you're netted. And I'm like, oh, well, I'm just going to go punch myself in the face in the mirror and talk about how I hate everything.
Kyle doesn't mind because he just has to wait. He goes, you know what? I was going to do this anyway.
Now, 2 types of nets.
Anti-neck tech.
Right. There are 2 types of nets. We have people who can actually cast physical nets with dice abilities. You look down on the screen. We got a Progdanetta. We got a Boggle Eye, Elton, Ill-Fated, Spite, Revenant, Awakened One with Brutal Polearm. We got a couple more out there, right? These are just reaction, right? And then we got Cruel Trap that my boy down Mike playing with a bunch of eggs. Talked about making omelets. Guess what? Sometimes if you just roll 5s and 6s, big boy running into your range doesn't get to come into your range. How's that, right? But there's a different type of net. One way more infuriating because it's called recursion. And Kyle can tell you about that. So
for death, there's 3 things you could do that are fake
nets. You have a minute
50
50 seconds for this, by the way.
Fake nets. So number 1, run a small model in there, is what Rob is stating. Let him kill it. Who cares if he kills a 55-point ghoul? Who cares if he kills a zombie? And then guess what? Use a Nighthaunt person or use a Soulblight person.
People?
Just to resurrect it in his face. He can kill the same model the entire game, and you could sit there and laugh. So that's one net. I did lie. Nighthaunt technically has a net if you're like within 1 inch. And the other net that Death can do is kind of a fake net. is the cardinal can take away an action, right?
Ooh,
So
action stripping, dice removing.
They're doing the same thing, right? You throw a body in there, he's got to take an action and deal with the model, or you just take away an action completely and he just has less to do. So that's it.
Perfect, Kyle. Succinct and perfect. Beautiful.
I tried.
I want to add one little funky tech piece here. Vexmor loves using that 2-inch range. Oftentimes, that 2-inch range is going to be the only way the Vexmor can attack some of your things. The best way to stop Vexmor attacking something that's 2 inches away is to put something 1 inch away, because it is not a choice anymore. Vexmor has to deal with that model first. So it's just a funky, tricky little sneaky way to, if they're going to play Vex at you, we go, well, then I'm going to pull out my nasty tricks as well. And they cannot target something if there's something within 1 inch. They can't target outside of that single inch. So chuck it in there, get right up in Vexmor's face, and show Vex who's the boss.
Well, I think Vexmor's got to go. I think he just got in from his corner deployment. So
listen, I think that's it, right? I think we just laid out how to be your own vein factory. You get bigger than him, you burn him, you maneuver him and pull him, you figure out how to play around him. He is a good piece, and he's going to eat, and somebody's going to roll 2 6s and just remove you off the board. It's going to happen no matter what, and it's going to feel bad. But more often than not, if you know how to play into it and around it with a clear plan, you can do this. And then you can use this knowledge and these pieces and other things, find and make something cool and unique for your list. Please put it down in the comments. I want to know what cool tech pieces, what cool pieces you are using to play around it. Or you can also use this and apply this to any other big dude. How are you going to play into ogres now? Do you see Stormcast a little bit differently now? Mm-hmm. These are things and ways to do it. Not every warband has access to it, but a lot of them were allies that you could do it. Now, I'm sorry we did not list this out for you for verbatim for each single one. I want you guys to also learn how to play your best Warcry by reading a little into it, because a little bit of that is going to stick better than us bozos talking nonsense in your ears for 30 minutes. So
explore stuff. Yeah. Try to find it and learn how it plays, because us telling you how it plays is not the same as playing it. It's hard to translate an idea that's in someone's head and reading it on a slide into a game sometimes. So get out there, play it, and figure out where the mistakes are that you can make.
For sure.
Think of how you want to attack him, his stats, or even attack the dice, right?
Yep. Or the other player, physical violence.
Yeah, just
steal all the finks. They got no dice, code right. They can't use abilities. So many options.
Ooh, yeah, get a little whisper blade action. Sorry, no wild dice, buddy.
Ooh. Listen, you guys can do it. No. You guys can do it. I believe fully in all of you. And if you're here, you're obviously trying to learn how to play your best Warcry. So please check out our other stuff. Like, subscribe, be a hero, not a chaff, like Vexmor on the bottom. And let us know what you think. Please tell us cool things. Tell us stories. Tell us about your experiences with him. I care about hearing about it, and so does everybody else here. Guys, anything else?
Nope.
See ya. Bye.